Welcome to my channel, Theshafaqeffect.
Oh my days. When you think you've seen it all, you ain't seen nothing yet. I am not a clone, okay? I know that's what a clone would say, I get it. But no, I've not been cloned. So how you doing then?
I'm very well. I've changed my settings. I'm usually in my office, but today I thought I'd sit here.
So yes. What's the
Fantastic.
topic?
How are you first?
I'm okay, thank you very much. I'm okay. Just chilling, same old really. How are you doing?
I'm very well. I had a busy day, but yes, other than that, good. House hunting.
House hunting? Say that again?
I'm house hunting. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Okay, so you're
yeah,
house hunting.
yeah, I'm moving.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, very quickly. I only got two weeks left, so I have to find.
Yeah. Okay. Good on you.
So yes, I mean, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got the wonderful influencer and TikTok legend, Onefoulwow.
Onefoulwow.
Onefoulwow. I apologize.
Yes.
Yes, no, it's absolutely honor. Actually, I'm quite excited in having you on because usually I have quite high profile guests of certain positions and certain status, but it's nice to see an influencer as such because it's a different way of relating to people. It's a different kind of audience, and that's what makes it exciting. You can catch a different kind of audience, I've been watching your clips and they've been wonderful. I would call you Mr. Mudflood.
Yes.
You're obsessed with Mudflood, but
Yes.
Would you like to say something to our audience before we start?
Just want to say, I don't really know what to say, really. Basically, I'm an influencer, that's what they call it, but I'm an independent archaeologist and historian. So basically, I look into history, I look into the main narrative, and I question it, and I, raise people's thoughts, and, I trigger people into thinking for themselves. That's what I deal with.
That's fantastic, and you do it really well. I mean, welcome to the Theshafaqeffect show. I've been doing podcast season 1 last year, which went really well, but this year I was focusing more on people of a different kind of approach, especially from the music business as well as from social media. It just is in such growth, isn't it? Especially because of the pandemic, it has just gone wild. Anybody can sit behind the camera and actually achieve something, which is nice. Get that message across, and I think it's great if you use it in the right way. We talked about that already.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, so obviously social media is a thing where I didn't know about it that much, as in I didn't know that you could really, reach as many people as you can, and how easy it is. You literally just pull out the camera, pull out the phone, and whatever you do, you can get it out to, the whole world, from your house. That's just an amazing thing.
It's very interesting though, because I mean, just a few years back, I guess the children nowadays wouldn't know about it because they've grown up in this era, but
yeah,
it wasn't as easy to bring even your message across, let alone your business, promoting something. Now you can do it from the likes, as you said, from your home, and just with a smartphone. How amazing is that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, when I grew up, you had to knock on somebody's door, wait for them to come back in, for them to be out. You pass on a message, and by the time it's left you gone to someone else, the message has changed. You know what I'm saying? Chinese whispers, it was like. So, it's kind of good to You know, and it's also, it can be a bad thing as well. You know, I don't want to gas people up and make people think social media is all roses, because it's not. Because you know, you can put a thing out there, you can put a video out there, and you can be teared alive for it. People can, you know, online bullying, and you know, they've got your face and they can rearrange it, and you know, a lot of trolling. So you gotta have thick skin, I would say, on social media, not to take everything seriously. Like a lot of these people who criticize you, they can't do what you're doing. You know, they're not as brave enough to put their face and their voice out there. So they like to target you and try and bring you down. But as long as you get past that, yeah, it's a good place to be.
I think you have to have a certain form of resilience with that, because
Yeah,
all the big content creators you see, I wouldn't say all of them because that would be too far-fetched, but a lot of them who are actually consistent in their work and quite having acquire a good following over time. You can see that they have a certain discipline within them, they have a certain resilience which they build up. And you have to have these kind of attitudes, otherwise it doesn't work, is it?
yeah,
Otherwise you're just there for jokes. And
yeah.
you do need to have these attitudes within yourself. I think one clip which I've put on one time, I've duetted that on self-development. So content creators usually have to go through some form of self-development. You took that original one on and then you duetted it again. Because it's something which is true, it's completely
Yeah,
true. It's, you know, people don't actually realize that just being a spectator doesn't actually, it's, we appreciate that, we appreciate every one of our audience, but being a spectator doesn't actually create that form of self-development, self-improvement, which we have to go through all the time. We have to think of
yeah,
so many different aspects.
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a long journey. Do you know what I'm saying? And to like, you know, when I was growing up, you could say I wasn't as confident as I am now. Do you know what I'm saying? And that is to do with the journey that we've been on. You know, sometimes in life you've got to hit rock bottom to get up. You know what I'm saying? You know, you've got to be broken down and able to fix up. You know what I'm saying? People are like, oh, I fixed up. Yeah, yeah, I'm fixed up. Unless you're broken down. You know what I'm saying? So when you go through these type of situations in life, it really does make you a stronger person. So when you do go on social media and you hear people calling you these names, you're like, nah, I've been called worse names than that. You know, is that all you got? So yeah, that's how it is really.
No, exactly. You have to have that. Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, as a woman, it's a bit different as well, because I think women approaching men in public, or generally even on social media, is slightly different, even though it can be quite vulgar as well, or aggressive in some ways. But because
Yeah,
of the general biological makeup which we have, our testosterone level is lower. And
yeah,
that actually causes less aggression towards the other person.
yeah.
That's not to say that women can't be bitchy, no.
Of course, and aggressive.
Absolutely, but in a different way. But when
Yeah,
it comes to social media, the approach is very different. So
yeah.
I've experienced a lot of different things, which go a lot of the time to the explicit sexual nature.
Mhm.
Sometimes you feel kind of fed up. You think it's lovely to hear, yes, you're beautiful, you're stunning, you're drop down gorgeous, whatever, whatever, whatever. But then you have these vulgar comments which go a bit too much to the bottom line, and you think to yourself, actually, because I'm not a page 3 model, I don't present myself as one. I would like to believe that. Um, but people have a different kind of perception. Whatever they see
Yeah,
doesn't
definitely.
always seem like what you want to portray. But
Yeah,
yes, you have to build up some form of resilience towards that. Otherwise, it doesn't work. It just doesn't
yeah.
work.
I mean, like what you're saying, like is you got different type of females online. You've got the females that you know, literally just show off their body. You know, literally their video is just them showing their booty, showing their ass. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it might look okay, I guess, but when you look at it, it's not really a talent. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not really something you should be, you know, like wowing about. Sometimes I kind of feel sorry for them because I'm like, well, wow, you've degraded yourself to just that. You know what I'm saying? You could be so much more than that. Do you know what I'm saying? And then you've obviously got other women on there who are doing their thing, got their own content and their material, but they are beautiful. Do you know what I'm saying? And they have got beautiful eyes or you've got a beautiful face. And as a guy, sometimes you'd feel just compelled just to be like, type, you're beautiful. Why did I say that? I'm saying because it just gets you, you're on your phone late at night, you're scrolling and you see the face, it's all filtered up, it's looking great. But I do understand for women, it can be very difficult because sometimes they don't want to be seen like that. They want to be seen for their talent and their skill. Do you know what I mean? So,
I mean, beautiful is still quite soft, actually. There are some comments which do sound, because I have a lot of obsessed, I would say obsessed following.
yeah.
Just to put
yeah.
it in a nice manner,
Yeah.
politically correct. So sometimes it makes you wonder what is going on in their minds. And
Yeah.
it's not just about the sexual elements as such. It's also involved because we're a natural being, if we see something which we find attractive, which we find in a certain way, we feel a certain way. And a lot of the times you feel like or as a psychologist, I see that as a life coach, that people have these insecurities within them. And because they don't feel they can approach it in the natural world, they create a fantasy world within their mind.
Yeah.
And you become a main part in their world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, it's more like a movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're their own hero.
Yeah.
And they would create this kind of heroine kind of figure within this structure, and feel like they know the person who they see. They know everything about them, and that's sometimes a bit concerning when it gets too obsessive. And I do see a lot of them really, when I filter out the comments, really obsessive, and it makes you think you can't really help them unless they go and seek help, or they grow within them, because it must be a lonely place to feel like this.
Yeah. And definitely with like social media, you can become as like a celebrity to some people. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they see you posting, they see you doing your videos, and they grow this attachment to you. Do you know what I'm saying? And even if they don't know anything about your personal life, they will see what they see on social media and think, that's you, that's how you are. And then they will create this fantasy dream in their head, like, wow, this person's just great. Do you know what I mean? And they can fall in love with you through social media. Do you know what I'm saying? Or fall in obsession, should I say. It's not proper, it's not real love, it can't be. But yeah, it's crazy.
That's
Really.
exactly what I'm describing. It is very bizarre for someone like me to build up a form of emotion to somebody or attachment to somebody in that way without seeing them or without feeling them, because I need human contact
Yeah.
to be able to develop these kind of feelings. And but a lot of people, because of their circumstances probably, or their self-esteem, their life itself, it makes it very, very different. And I was in the beginning, I was trying to understand how that works, and then I thought, actual, Hollywood star or someone in public's view, actress or actor, they must feel like this. They must have this on a daily basis. I mean, we just have it in a small scale, but it must be really sometimes challenging to having to put up a brave face all the time, because they do get attacked. They have a lot of obsessed fans.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be difficult for me. I mean, I've only got a little following, and sometimes people want you to do everything the way they want you to do it. Like if I post a video about something, just something else, not mud flood, people are like, you should stick to mud flood. Like I should stick to mud flood? Like, there's more to me than goddamn mud flood. And they're like, no, that's what you should do. And they've got this idea in their head of what type of person you are. And when you step out of line, you can be really upset with that. So yes, you just got to keep going, haven't you? You just got to keep safe and keep being true to yourself.
Well, first of all, you brought it up to yourself on yourself, Mr. Mudflood Man. Even I called you obsessed with Mudflood.
Yeah, you was the first one to say it.
Well, the only reason why I said it, because every time I open my my TikTok, it comes up with Mr. Mudflood.
And that was because people kept on telling me they want more, they want more. Even now, people are still saying, make sure you stick to what you're good at. And I know what they're saying. I'm thinking, there's more to me than that. But you got to sometimes keep the fans or the followers happy. Do you know what I'm saying? And I tell you the truth, that's when my account really blew up, when I started doing like the mod for stuff.
I mean, it is the consistency. It is the consistency. That's what everywhere, all the platforms say. If you keep a certain consistency, you will grow very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But then you end up in a place where you try to experiment in different things, and it doesn't work as well because people are just obsessed with one thing or focused on one thing. So that's why it gets then challenging. But guys, I have to correct him. Actually, he's just talking very humbly about his little following, over 125,000 followers. By the way.
Yes. I mean, it was crazy. I think because this is like my third account that I'm on. Because I kept on getting banned. I kept on getting banned at the beginning. I weren't really sure about the community guidelines, so I kept on breaching. So then I just got this new account I'm on now. I think I got to something like 10,000 followers in a month. And I was like, wow, like 10,000 followers. I couldn't believe I got there because, 10,000 was a lot. Do you know what I'm saying? It was like, there's no way. And then I got to 10,000 and then I just kept on growing. And I think when I got to like 20,000, that's when I did Mudflood. And then it's just shot up from there. And then when I got to 100,000, I was like, 100,000! Like, I was so amazed and impressed with it all. Do you know what I'm saying? I weren't like starstruck. I was more like, I can't believe I've done it.
I could see your clip, which you've made actually when you achieved that level. It was very emotional.
Yeah, it was emotional. It was a bit of acting because I'm a bit of a comedian, so I like to be silly, and pretend to cry and stuff. But no, inside I felt warm. And then I got to 200,000 and it was like, what? Do you know what I mean? Like, you just can't believe getting to there. So I've almost lost my account a few times as well along the way. Do you know what I'm saying? I've come on my TikTok and it said, you're permanently banned. And that's, when you got a big following and you hear that you're permanently banned, it hurts. It hurts.
Yes, I can imagine. So especially the work you put in and the excitement you get out of that.
Yes.
Just by, seeing the growth itself. I mean, I must say my account is a bit slower than yours, although everybody actually says, no, the content you put on, the type of content is still grew very quickly. And but I try to experiment because what I came away with, I mean, your content is very different to mine. But what I wanted to come away with is just creating, coming from a psychological mental health background, just creating clips of similar versions. So I've seen other coaches, for instance, just talking about things. They have one thing to say and they just talk about it, and every clip is about the same. And yes, a lot of people can relate to that, but at the same time, it can come across very monotone. Not to say that their content is bad. That's not what I'm saying. But I wanted to create something where I can literally catch anybody. So something which combines the glamour world with the research world and the academic world and merges it together. So a bit of fun in life, because that's who I am, a bit of fun in life, just be happy, be exciting, create some spark in you. That was my main aim, which is why my clips are how they are. And some of them are just about comedy and fun and laughter, but everything has to do with some form of self-improvement. uplifting things, motivational things. So this was my aim at the moment, since I started promoting my business as well. But yes, everybody has their own niche. But at the same time, I find a lot of the times people are quite, I mean, we've spoken about the fan thing, quite difficult or delusioned in their mindset what a person or in public must be just by looking at how they look or how they present themselves. I mean, with me, I've been approached from many people, especially on my live, and they automatically assume I'm a very, very rich lady.
Yeah.
Wealthy lady.
Yeah. I think it's your accent.
Say it
It
again.
must be. I think it's your accent.
It's my accent. Okay.
Yes. I don't know why your accent sounds posh in a way.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I come from a diplomatic background. I don't know if you know that.
Okay, no, I didn't know that.
I'm a former German diplomat.
Former German diplomat.
Former
So
German diplomat.
what does that mean then? Explain.
You know the foreign FCO, Foreign Service?
Yeah.
Yes. So Foreign Commonwealth Office.
Yeah.
In Germany, you have something similar.
Okay. So he was born in Germany?
I've grown up in Germany, yes.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Yes,
Oh,
I studied foreign affairs, which includes
okay.
politics, protocol, administration. It includes a lot of things which you do within an embassy,
Yeah.
high commission. So this was I was very young at that time. I was selected within 10,000 applicants, and had to go through a very lengthy thorough of exams and tests and psychological tests and so on, and then got into the service. Had to do a training of about 2 years, which included a training to be posted in a foreign country as well as a German foreign attaché.
Oh, attaché. Interesting.
Attaché, yes. So
Oh,
that's what I was doing before I started going into the mental health sector. You know, it was a very different approach, a very different career, and very lucrative from the financial perspective as well, because I had a blue passport, so can't say untouchable.
yes.
Yes, literally, politically. I had a blue passport beside my own passport as well. So I
Yeah.
was immune to any country I would travel to, especially when I'm officially traveling to. And yes, there are a lot of perks and benefits around, but because I've always been the way how I am, I've always been like this. I've just improved more. I didn't really fit into that hierarchical structure. And everyone has always been wondering, you must come that across as well, how this, you know, this young girl, not even German looking, you know, not Haitian, gets into the foreign service, into the German foreign service. I mean, even ethnic people were amazed about that, because they couldn't understand how I got into that service itself. And in the beginning, I was the only brown looking person. There was nobody else. Slowly it changed the picture now, where it's promoted with more diversity. But it was quite something at that time. You know, every time you have to face some other challenges, because you're not to be believed to be in.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I never knew that about you.
So yes, now I have quite a few things. I was a professional athlete as well as a teenager.
Yeah.
Prior in going
What
into the
sport?
service. Say it again.
What sport did you do?
Athletics. You know what
Okay.
you see in the Olympics, everything which you see in the Olympics, most of
Yeah.
the sports I've done. I was in the national top 10 team in Germany of my
Yeah.
age range.
Oh.
So I've done calisthenic athletics, I've done 100 meter, 500 meter, 800 meters, 50 meters. I've done high jump, I've done I don't know how you call them, all these different practices and skills which you need to do. So yes, I was quite active. My life was very active.
Yeah. That's interesting. Interesting stuff. So
Yeah.
now you've turned over to the social media side of things, and
Yeah, just recently.
yeah.
I mean, to be honest, if you have the drive to generally, not for somebody else, but for yourself, and that's what I wanted to come on to. If you have the drive to succeed, to excel, you will do that anywhere, wherever you go, whatever niche you choose, wherever you go, as long as you have the compassion there and you have the drive to succeed, to excel, not just succeed, but to excel, you will reach there at some point, because you would automatically have this mindset of discipline, of forward thinking, not keep focusing on things which are unnecessary or which are part of your past. Not to say that, you know, everybody goes through their healing process and their self-improvement, but you wouldn't get stuck on that.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I agree. Yeah, definitely agree. It's a journey, as we've been saying, and you know where you've come from doesn't really determine where you're going to end up. You know
No.
what I'm saying? And all the skills that you've learned through your life, you can put it to whatever craft you want to do, as long as you don't give up. You know what I'm saying? Like there will be setbacks, there will be times you won't succeed as quick as you thought you might, but you just need to keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And keep
Absolutely.
pushing.
Resilience and continuity. That's the way to go. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Life is full of stones and hurdles and
Yeah.
disappointments and
Yeah,
failures and rejections, you know.
definitely,
I mean, most
definitely.
people don't even know, and I would like to know a bit more about your life as well, if you would like to share that with us.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Most people don't even know that the position where I'm in now, or the understanding, the knowledge I have, or even the way how I present myself, it took a long time to develop, because I
yeah,
had to go through a lot of trauma, lifelong trauma, to get
yeah,
through that and to experience certain things, to understand actually how I manage and how I react to these things.
yeah, yeah. I mean, same with me. Like, you know, growing up, I grew up with my mom and I grew up with my dad. Throughout school, you know, would get bullied and picked on and stuff. You know, you got to overcome that. You know, people would, I was always a nice person, so people would always try and, target you for being nice. So I'd get into loads of fights and stuff, and then as I grew up through my teenage years, I got into drugs and got into crime and stuff like that. But I really feel like it was when I got to I'd say about 22, 23, I really started to become more spiritual aware about stuff. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like my life changed dramatically. Do you know what I mean? I stopped hanging around with certain friends. I stopped going to certain areas and stuff. I still like to go to the nightclubs and party, but I was always starting to become more aware of, you're here for a purpose and you're here for a mission. Do you know what I mean? Like, I missed it out, but when I was younger, I used to do sports, used to play for football teams. I used to play for Fulham, Basingstoke. I could have really been a professional, but I got injured.
Oh,
I got badly injured. I had to have an operation on my leg. Stopped playing football. And then I got into music when I say I was about 19, 28. In fact, all my life I did music. But when I got to about 18, 19, I started to do performances.
all right.
Car-
Okay.
yeah, carnivals. I went even over to Germany, did music there, France, did music there, London, Manchester, England, obviously. And I was really into my music. I did a cross between like hip hop and reggae. Do you know what I mean? Like cross between. And I really had a passion for that. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like in my last three years, I've lost my passion for it. I don't know if
Right.
I've got old or what, but I don't really like it the same way I used to like it.
Okay.
So yes, when I was about say 23 upwards, got into more of a spiritual thing. My friends would come around my house and, I'd not preach but teach all night. There'll be like 8, 9 guys in my house, and I'd be just talking for hours about this spiritual thing and this thing. And a lot of like the content I do now is basically things I found out years ago. So we'll talk about like Antarctica, we'll talk about like giants, and, biblical things, and a lot of things that people don't really talk about, at a young age. People don't really think about these type of things. But yeah, it's been a long journey, and I feel like I think I was about 30, 31. I kind of had a breakdown, an emotional breakdown. I felt like I was going through a lot within my personal life, and I felt like, just when you kind of look at life and you look around, you look how people are living, countries are in poverty, you've got the government doing whatever they're doing. I think it all just got to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just was like, I can't take this anymore. Do you know what I mean? And, I was very depressed, but I managed to get over that. You know what I mean? And it was a hard journey. It weren't easy, but looking at me now, you would have never thought I was in that state. Do you know what I mean? And I got back on drugs. I was taking drugs again, smoking a lot of weed and stuff. And, you could say it messed with my hormones, paranoid. It just all got to me. But cut out the drink, cut out the drugs, got clean again, focused on life, and I was able to pull myself back up from that dark place, which is an amazing thing, because when you get to a certain place in your life, when you hit rock bottom, like real rock bottom, like so bottom you don't even want to live anymore. We're not talking about just financially rock bottom. We're talking about emotionally depleted. When you get to that stage, sometimes you think it's over. You don't think there's no way I can come back from this. So for me to come back from that is a great triumph, and I feel like one of the best achievements in my life, to tell you the truth, because it was one of the hardest obstacles.
That's fantastic. That's very admiring to hear that, because I think a lot of these, especially young generation, young audience, they need to hear these things.
Yeah.
That, even if you reach rock bottom, as you explained it, it's not too late. You can always pick yourself up. Just don't give up.
Definitely. I mean, like I'm a living example of that, because I've always been an achiever. I've always been a guy people looked up to. I've got brothers, sisters. In my family, I've always been a high, esteemed guy. So to see me at a low state, you know what I mean, to where, I'm not sleeping, I'm up all night, I'm walking the streets, just a total mess. You would think, well, how is he going to come back from this? How is it possible? And the truth is, if you never give up on yourself, you can achieve anything.
And that's a very powerful message, I think. I mean, I talk very openly about my life as well, not on TikTok so much, because TikTok is made in a
Nor do I.
different way.
I don't speak about TikTok.
And no, it's more about, it's YouTube and LinkedIn and these kind of things. So it is important for people to know that if whatever improvement you have gone through life, and that's what I keep saying all the time, and you've said it so beautifully, that when you hit rock bottom, you haven't given up. You still went through. You was a high achiever, and you fall down, you still picked yourself up. And often what it is, when you see people of resilience, when people ask them why you're always smiling, or how you're so strong, how you're so happy, so joyful, or how you're so knowledgeable, even, there's a lot of elements there. We are not born into that. That's what somebody needs to understand, that these elements, they don't come to you in your bed when you're just born, when you're just a baby. You don't know these things. You have to go through a certain form of traumas through your life, and that's not to excuse that certain things which have which you have gone through are correct. It's just life experiences. And if you pass through these things and you come out of the other end, you can be really proud of yourself, that you have achieved this milestone. And then you feel kind of proud to share your story as well, because
Definitely.
you want to bring that message across. You're excited about yourself. You want to share this excitement with the world.
That's definitely something I'm going to be doing, like, in the future. Like, when I've grown a bigger following, I want to, like, come out with, yo, do you want to see the dark side of where I came from? Do you know what I'm saying? I'm going to do a whole documentary on that. Do you know what I'm saying? Telling people exactly what we've been through in more detail. But it's literally like, it's almost like war scars, all of these things that you go through in life. Do you know what I mean? They're like war battles and scars that you've gone through. And it's experience, do you know what I mean? A true warrior has got scars. You
That's
can't be
right.
a warrior, you ain't got no scars. So yeah, that's how I see it. And especially when you see me on TikTok and say, you think, oh, this guy, he's always smiling, or he's having a great time and stuff. People don't know where we've came from. Do you know what I'm saying? To be at this stage here, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely something that I'm proud of. And yeah, I didn't really want to get no like sympathy on TikTok. I didn't want to be that guy to be like, oh, look at me, follow me. I've been depressed. You know what I mean? I wanted to be established for me and who I am, and then tell them like, yo, if I can do it, you can do it. You know what I'm saying? You see me doing it, so don't give up, people, because I'm sure there's many people out there that have a similar story to us who have been through these type of situations, and you don't feel like you can get out of it. You don't feel proud. You're embarrassed to say where you've been. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people hide their past, but sometimes I feel like people can learn from your past and learn from your trials and errors.
Absolutely. And it is important to know that life is full of trials and errors.
Mm-hmm.
It's never smooth, ever. So you have to go through rejections. You have to go through mistakes which you make. You have to learn from that. Otherwise, I mean, I keep saying you wouldn't have nothing to measure with if you just had a good life, because it wouldn't mean anything.
That's exactly it.
You can't compare it with anything. You can only compare it if you fail, if you've been rejected, if you've fallen down, if you made mistakes. And that's why you build your success, and that's where you rise from. You can't rise from anything else. I mean, I'm sure you would have noticed my clips are all about positivity and uplifting things. I mean, they're very real at the same time. If you look at the messages, they're very, very real. But they always have a positive element, and that's how people perceive me as well. She's always happy. How can she be always happy? But that's a form of self-improvement. You find yourself in that position because you have gone through a certain way of self-awareness of who you are, of hitting rock bottom. I have a very different story to yours. It also brought me very down, but in a different way. What people don't even know, that I've suffered from a lifelong abuse and trauma, and through this time, and I'm talking about from going back from childhood as well. So going through all this time, I wouldn't know if the person who I am today, if I hadn't gone through all this time, all these kind of experiences, if I would be the person who I am. I wouldn't have known. I could be somebody else. My personality could have been somebody else. And I didn't even know at that time. And what I'm hearing from you as well, if you're going through experiences, you cannot say before you experience them how you would manage these or how you would react to them, how you go through them. You can only know that if you actually experience these things yourself.
Definitely.
Then you know how you react to this, how you know how to manage these things, and how much of the strength it can build within yourself.
And you in life, you'll always make mistakes along the way. Do you know what I mean? Like, your initial reaction ain't gonna always be your end result reaction.
No.
You know, you might react wrong at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? You might take abuse. You might take disrespect. You might not fight back. You know what I'm saying? But as you get older, you know how to keep away from it, or you know how to fight back, or you know how to recognize it. Do you know what I'm saying? And it makes you not be an abuser yourself. It makes you not be that person who, picks on people, because you know how it feels. You know what I'm saying? Some people, I feel like they haven't seen life, or they haven't understood how it might feel for them. They haven't got empathy. Do you know what I mean? So they go around living a certain way, but if they only had it done to them, maybe they would have changed.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, that's not to say that a lot of victims of abuse and trauma sometimes also develop these attitudes of the perpetrator.
Of course,
it can go both ways. There's three ways to create, and that's from the psychological point of view. That there are victims who become the perpetrator, who kind of mimic the perpetrator. There are victims who become the victim. Stay the victim. Or there are people like ourselves who fight through and do not want to become the perpetrator or victim. They want to fulfill their life despite all these challenges.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's three different ways. So we can be grateful for that as well, that in some form of ways we have developed understanding not to become either part of that, because it could have been easily that way, could have ended up one way or the other. I mean, a lot of people have said to me, we're surprised you're not in a psychiatric unit, or we're surprised you didn't commit suicide, we're surprised you didn't do this. So this just then start reflecting back onto yourself and seeing who you are, and kind of fill yourself with becoming humble and becoming enlightened and becoming, spiritually awakened.
That's true.
Yes. And that's the nice thing about that. Well, I'm enjoying this talk. What I wanted to actually touch on, which is most probably quite interesting in this new world of social media as well, dating. We talked a little bit about that. I think that would be quite interesting to see, especially in this world where we are actually just presenting our messages and the audience is seeing something else.
Yes. So, and it's some people that can't help it. When you talk about certain things and you say you're intelligent, entertaining, charming, whatever, funny, people will only see that side of you, but also will think, well, I want to get into bed with this person. I actually like this person. So it can become a nuisance or a pest. You know what I mean? You're just trying to live your day-to-day life. People trying to chat you up, people trying to get into bed with you. Not that it's a bad thing. We're humans. We need this type of stuff. But sometimes we just want to have a conversation. Sometimes we just want to have a little laugh and a little, even adult company. What I'm saying, without it being too adulterated. So, in this time as well, it's a strange time we're living in, because it's not like how it used to be. People would get married. People would, people would ask you out genuinely. They genuinely like you. Now, you don't even know if they even like you or not. You don't even know if they just want to get into bed with you. You think, but you said you loved me. And it's like, no, I just wanted to lie down with you for the night.
Oh my gosh, I've heard that so often. At the same time, it's so strange, to be honest, because they keep telling you, oh, they're so obsessed. It's obsession which comes with that as well, because you're in public view. But at the same time, they can't get out of their head that they want to sleep with you. That's it. That's their goal.
That's their goal. They ain't got. It's not like sometimes they're not even obsessed. They just want to sleep with you. And then once they've slept with you, it's over. You're like, God damn, you're not even gonna walk me down to the stairs. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just gone. So it's like a weird time we're living in. You got all those dating apps out there. You know, people on the Tinder and the Jinder and all of this madness. And, you know, it's just a crazy place to be, time to be living in, you know. It's very hard to find genuine love and genuine feelings nowadays. You know, not to say all guys are the same, not to say all girls are the same, but generally the girls that I meet lately in the past couple of years, yeah, they're all the same. You know, no one's faithful anymore. It's just a crazy world to be living in. It's safer to be by yourself, you know,
Yeah.
because if you're somebody like me who grows feelings, who can be tricked, I can be deceived. You know, I'd be like, I swear she loved me though. It's like she don't love you. She loves the streets. You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean? You know, she's everybody's man. What? She's everyone's girl. Like what? So yeah, it's kind of crazy, especially being on, say, social media. You get people who message you, people who comment, you know, people like, oh, follow me back, you know, and they're like, what's your Snapchat? You know, what's your Snapchat? If anyone asks for your Snapchat, it's a wrap. You know, there's some sneaky people because, you know, that's what I'll say. If you ask for the phone number, I'll be like, maybe WhatsApp, yeah, Snapchat. I know you want some dodginess. You're trying to send some pictures or you're trying to see my winkle, something, you know. So it's the modern day times we're living in. You got to be up to date with it.
Yes, it
You
seems
got
like it. I mean, you can't take offense of everything because what I've gathered is there's a lot of kind of mindset change about as well. So you have to allow a few things because the time has changed. That's the only
Mhm.
reason. Because in the beginning, I was like you, I got quite confused about it. And I thought everyone is just after sex. That's it. They're not looking about anything else.
Yeah,
What about taking you out for a date? I'm talking about
yeah,
just taking you out for a date just to, and it doesn't even have to be expensive, you know. I'm not even
yeah,
someone who needs big dinners or anything. I can buy myself a dinner. So it's about getting to know the person wherever, you know, you go for bowling, you go to the cinema, you go for a
yeah,
walk, just simple things. And they
yeah,
seem to be scared of that. And to be honest, I asked one of my friends who is a reggae artist, by the way. He's quite well known in the reggae world, and I got to know him through TikTok as well. But I mean, I've built up quite a lot of positive relationships as well throughout TikTok. You know,
yeah,
friendships in that way, which is
yes,
nice to see if you use it the right way.
yeah,
But I asked him this question because what happened? I think I mentioned that to you on the phone as well when
mhm,
we spoke briefly about that. I've met that guy who it was, you know, as soon he walked in, he approached me straight away, and then he's talking about his spirituality, how he developed in his life, and that's something which actually attracts me. It's something because
yeah,
I'm very spiritually inclined, so you know, I would seek for somebody who is more on that pathway.
yeah,
It doesn't have to be completely developed like myself, but someone who's on that pathway, who believes in
mhm,
God, who is a certain way. So he started talking out of the blue like this. I don't know if you read something in my face or whatever he was doing, but
yeah, yeah,
he started talking about that. And I thought, okay, that sounds interesting. But because I've gone through now this single life since almost coming up to 2 years now, you kind
mhm,
of gather certain things and you step back a bit instead of believing everything
yeah,
as a face value. So I was listening to that guy, and you know, he's talking about his spiritual way and so on and so on and so on. And suddenly, because the music in that place, I just went there to chill out, to listen to some music. I don't drink at all. I just enjoy myself. So we just walked out, and we were walking out towards the car park, and he suddenly is hinting about other things, and I thought to myself, that's a bit quick, you know. Remember, I've only got to know this guy about half an hour before. It
yeah.
wasn't even any time pass, and I thought, no, that's a quick shift between between, and that's, I'm talking about, that's a very deep topic to be. I mean, you don't
Yeah,
just talk about spiritual development in your life and then
yeah,
suddenly switch to, oh, can we have sex? Where does
yeah,
that fit into? you know, so quickly. It just, in my mind, it didn't fit into that.
Yeah.
It's different if you approach someone in a different way. So
Yes.
just went very quickly into that. And I said to him, look, I need to get to know you.
Yeah.
You're a stranger to me. Plus, we only spend half an hour with, you know, with each other. And I don't actually know you. You're a stranger to me, complete stranger
Yeah.
to me. And he kept kind of then starting using a different kind of method. Oh, don't be shy. And I thought to myself, that's a red flag to me. If you're trying to put some guilt trip in me to try to make me feel bad now, just to adhere to your needs, that's with you, you know.
Like peer pressure in it, like, you know, trying to put the pressure on you and that. But yeah, like spirituality and sex is it's a hard one just to cross over and mix. You
I,
can't be like,
I mean, it's not wrong. I must say
yeah,
it's
it's
not
not
wrong.
wrong.
It's the way how you do it, because
Yeah.
both of them are very intense. I've heard
Yes.
someone saying that spirituality, sexuality, and psychology,
Uh-huh.
they they link with each other, and
Uh-huh.
that's not wrong at all, because there's
No.
emotions involved,
Uh-huh.
there's feelings involved,
Uh-huh.
there's growth involved,
Uh-huh.
there's attraction involved. Even
Uh-huh.
spirituality is a form
Yeah,
of
definitely.
attraction,
Yeah.
and they all incline with each other,
Yeah.
but it needs to be
It's the
done.
timing. Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
timing.
timing
It's like
and
reading.
the
It's
way.
like it's like reading the Bible and then say, "Yep, all right, turn to chapter 53. Yep, now take off your clothes." You're
Yeah.
like, God damn! Wait a minute.
Yeah.
wait a minute. We were just praying, and they want to go upstairs. God damn, you know what I mean? So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just the timing,
Yeah.
and especially when you meet somebody for the first time, and if you got to choose your avenue first. Like if you're gonna meet someone, go down the sex route or the spirituality. You can't really go down the
No.
spirituality and take a right turn to sex in the same evening. It's just gonna be like, well, you've just met me, and you're going on like Jesus. Now
Yeah.
you're going on like you're a playboy. Like this is make it sense, you know. So yeah, and people will use what you like to get to you. So if you're a spiritual person, people will mimic that. You know what I mean? If you're funny, people will laugh. And if you're a teacher, people will pretend to learn. But sometimes it's not the truth. They're just doing that to they can get into your pants.
No,
And
absolutely.
if you like that type of thing, if you're in a place in your life that's what you want, then that's good. But if you're somebody who, has had a lot of time wasted before, you've been hurt before, or you just want something genuine and serious, you got to really watch out for those people that approach you like that.
Very much so. It's quite a dangerous kind of world as well, because you don't know who the other person is, you know. At the
Yeah.
same time, you need to be in a good mindset as well, which
Mm-hmm.
I keep saying to people. You need to be in a good mindset within yourself to be
Yeah.
able to face all these different approaches.
Yeah.
Because
Definitely.
otherwise you would fall into the same trap over and over
Yeah.
again, or you would just fall into a
Yeah.
trap which doesn't meant to be you, or where you didn't want it to be in, and you find yourself and it's too late,
Yeah.
or you start regretting something, or it's hurting you in any way.
Yeah.
So yes, you need to develop a certain form of peace. You need to be within a good mindset
Yeah.
to be able to come out there and see all these things and then analyze them in a different way. And not to say, to be honest, not to say that love doesn't exist. Love
Mm-hmm.
does exist. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here as human beings.
Yeah.
God doesn't just make us out of nowhere. We come from somewhere. And that's why I like to believe that there are people out there who are genuinely looking for someone to
Mm-hmm.
grow with. And it's not even something which people misunderstand. I mean, coming back to my friend, I had to ask him about this. I did ask him because I wanted a man's opinion. That's all it was, especially a man's opinion I can trust.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't give me any kind of any kind of wrong opinion or any kind of too subjective opinion, just the objective opinion of how men are nowadays, or a lot of men are nowadays. But I did ask him, I told him this story about this guy, and I said, I'm wondering why people actually like to talk about this. And then it seems like most of the guys are just after one thing. Girls, I'm sure ladies as well. So he said to me, well, the way how you talk is you talk about your old school, and that may put a lot of people off because they think you just want to jump straight into a relationship.
Yeah.
That's one thing of misconception as well, but that I had to kind of think about it, and I thought, okay, that's most probably a generational issue, because if I said about 20 years ago I'm old school, everyone would have understood what that means.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you would understand that as well.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's been seen like, oh, she just wants to jump into a relationship. It doesn't work like this. You know, you can't just jump into a relationship with a stranger, regardless of what mindset or values you have. It doesn't work like this. But me saying old school just means that I like to have a gentleman. I like to have someone with similar values. I like to have someone who's at least in his life with some form of substance and is looking for somebody who he can grow with. If it works out that way, that's a very different scenario, but you have to have this kind of mindset. I don't want a player. I'm not looking for a player. I'm not looking for 18 years old. I'm not looking for somebody who has no idea with, I don't know, 40s or 30s and who doesn't know where he stands in his life. These are elements which I'm not looking for. I am looking for a natural gentleman. Yes, people have problems. People have difficulties, bad luck in their life. That's not what we're talking about. We're just natural human beings. You know, there's no expectations from my side because I'm not looking for someone who has a lot of money. It needs to be someone who's established within themselves. And I don't think that's too much to ask, but I don't think this new generation understands that. So I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to retreat from stating that I'm old school.
Yeah.
And just maybe word it in a bit different way so people can understand it better, especially this generation nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. That would work well for you because this generation's definitely even from any age group, from the 20s to the 30s to the 40s, I don't know about the 50s, but any of those age groups there, a lot of the people that are single do just want one thing. Do you know what I mean? But there are a few people still left that want love, that want a genuine connection, and want to grow with somebody. Do you know what I mean? Like me, I've always been a guy who believes in love. Do you know what I mean? Like I've had my heart broken many a times for my gullibleness in love. You know what I mean? And like you said before, you need to be in the right place in your mind and in your heart and in your soul and your spirit to detect what's real and what's not. Because like when I was going through like my breakdown stage, I had the most amount of bad women approaching me. Do you know what I mean? Like even though I was going through my dark stage, I still had females coming to me by the dozen, and they was all bad females, just leeching off me. Do you know what I mean? Like just pecking away at me like I was a dead carcass, and I was making all the wrong decisions. You know what I mean? I would believe anything they said to me because I'm in that low state of mind. But when you've got a more of a clear mind state, and I feel like you just got to hold out. Don't just jump into whoever comes towards you. Hold out. The universe will send someone your way because that's the energy you're giving out. If you're giving out that energy, it's got to come to you.
That's right. And at the same time, that's not to say that you hide away somewhere. You are still an outgoing person, because I have to say that to a lot of people as well. Just by hiding away, you think you're in a good place. You're still protecting yourself. But you're maybe overprotecting yourself because the world is not going to come to you. Moses still had to climb up the mountain. The mountain didn't come to Moses.
Yeah, that's true. And even when you're hiding, they'll still find a way to find your ass. I'm telling you, even when you're
Especially the
hiding.
bad one.
Yeah.
You know, someone with low energy would actually approach you more successfully because their approach is more aggressive.
Yeah.
They push away the ones you're gone, I think. That's okay. So people with and a lot of people misunderstand that there's a lot of messages out there, and you can see clips where people say you attract who you are. It's not true. That's absolutely rubbish, because you will attract all sorts of people.
Yeah.
The only reason why, when you're a good-hearted person and you're gullible, you haven't developed your self-awareness as such, you will be approached by the ones with low energy more, because they want to fulfill a void in their life, which they're seeking from you. And because their approach is more aggressive, they're more successful.
Yeah.
They push away the ones who are good.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. And when you haven't developed this form of level of self-awareness, then you are prone to accept that, because your nature will automatically be, okay, let me help that person, or let me love that person, you know, because of your good nature and your high energy. That's how you automatically think. Where if you have developed some form of self-awareness and have gone through self-development at the same time, you start choosing, you start dissecting these high energy people from the low energy people. You know, you start actually saying no, for instance, without feeling guilty about it. It's a form of setting your own boundaries, but it's healthy boundaries which you do, because you don't have to accept everyone who comes your way. So that's the difference. And that's what I have to say to people, even to my clients all the time, that, you know, don't believe that just because people say you attract who you are, you naturally do that. We are human beings. We would attract all sorts of people.
Yeah. And when you're on a high kind of vibration, when you're, you know, you're spiritually, what's the word? Your vibration is, you're awake, your vibration is high, you're a positive person. They need to feed off you like a battery. Like, we get our energy from the true source, God. You know, we get our energy from God, the universe. We pray, we meditate, we fast, we do these things. They don't do anything. You know what I'm saying? So for them to feel any type of, to feel alive, they need to feed off us. You know, they need to lie down in the bed with us and stuff like that. And they'll do any type of tactic to worm their way in. And if you're not aware of yourself, if you're not aware that you're the light, then, you know, these people will dim your light, you know. And
I mean, I was dating someone for a short time, and he took me to his family. There was a cat there. He's got a lovely family, you know, don't get me wrong. He's got a lovely family. There was a cat there, and the cat started laying down in front of me. So like it wanted to be stroked. I'm talking about as soon as I walked in, I sat down and the cat started walking around me and laying down in front of me. And I was a stranger to that cat. You know, I've never seen that cat before. And I started stroking the cat, and the cat was really happy. It wanted more and more. And the sister of that person was very, very amazed about that. I didn't understand it at first. But she said to me, she said, I'm really surprised, because this cat doesn't want to be stroked by anybody. He doesn't even want to come close to anybody. You're one of the very few people who is actually allowed to stroke the cat at all. The sister said she strokes the cat sometimes, but even she has to struggle with that, because the cat wouldn't go anywhere. So for somebody, a stranger, to come in and suddenly the cat just is so fond of you, she said you must have really have a high level of energy for the cat to feel that kind of way. And that was a lovely compliment. I mean, these are things, when you start recognizing your, I don't know, I wouldn't say power, that's the wrong way to say, but your strength, your development, the person who you actually have become.
Yeah. Yeah, because animals, they can feel our energy. Do you know what I'm saying? And they gravitate towards animals, insects, all types, not just humans. So yeah, they obviously could. The cat could feel that from you, and that's what it was feeling. That's why. That's why humans want to touch us. The same way that cat wanted you to touch the cat. That's what humans want us to do. And they really do feel our energy and our vibration.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of misconception also about I hypnotize people with my eyes.
With your eyes, yes.
I get that told very often.
Yeah, yeah, I can tell.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I'm not unaware of how I look. I am aware of that, especially when you get told so often, all the time, and get approached by people. You do become aware of that anyway. But it's not something which is kind of important to me. But at the same time, I like to play with that a little bit just to create more interesting clips.
Yeah.
I know my eyes work. I know maybe my smile works. I know some looks work. Without having to take off my clothes, I can create a clip which is attractive at the same time, but can deliver the message.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the art of social media. You need to be able to do that because it's about content as well as visuals. And I've got a few friends that do TikToks and they're not doing very well. And I tell them, like, in the first 2 seconds, you need to grip them. Then you need good visuals. So have a shave. Make yourself look presentable. You know what I'm saying? And have good content. Well, obviously that's what you do. Deliver. I've been following you for a while. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember who followed who first, but I remember following you quite a while ago. And yeah, I noticed your content straight away. You had a good, strong message, positive, upliftment, and you had beautiful eyes. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, damn, look at those eyes there. But that's what you need. You need to grab someone in the first 2 seconds, and yeah, you definitely do that.
Thank you. You need to understand these things. I mean, otherwise social media doesn't work. I always say to people, you could have, for instance, hundreds of talented singers with brilliant voices, but unless you have the understanding of how to bring yourself further, you have a business mind, you have a approach to people, about the demand, about how your creativity, your voice alone is not going to help you.
Yep.
In the same way, my eyes are not going to help me in any way.
Yeah, if you haven't got anything after that. Like, what? She just got eyes. Like, God damn it. You need the content to go with it.
The content, you need to know how to position your camera, what to do with that, how to create a clip, what to create with a clip, how you dress, as you said, groom yourself well.
Yeah, everything.
Absolutely. I know how I play with my voice as well. It's all natural anyway. I love being natural, and that's what I stand for. Being natural, because so many people are hiding behind filters. Not to say it's all wrong. Filters, makeup, any kind of fake things which do not represent them. That I just retaliate against that and say, no, look at me. I'm just as natural as it comes. No, I don't wear makeup, I only wear my eyeliner. But there's a reason for that, because I don't believe in that. That's it.
Yeah. And you've got good skin. Come on, come on. We ain't all got skin like you now. You don't need no filters or nothing. That's why you don't need it. Other people, if they never had filters, they could go on there. Because it is social media is a rough place. People do get targeted and picked on for the way they look. But obviously, you don't need none of that. Just look at eyeliner, get them eyes percolating. That's it. I hear that.
Good skin can be achieved as well, and that's what I say. You don't have to have the best skin, but you can make improvement towards that. But you need to be self-disciplined. To be honest, I drink up to 3-4 liters per day water.
Yeah.
I don't drink many soft drinks. I don't drink many fizzy drinks. I don't eat kind of unhealthy. I love good food, home cooked good food. I cook everything from scratch. So all these things need work. You know, I can cook from Jamaican food to Korean food to Asian food to German food to Italian food. Anything you want to cook, I would cook it at home.
Yes. Wow. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'll let you guess because I don't say that, and I will cut it out actually because I like to play with that thing with my audience.
What, you're gonna cut it out, yeah?
I will only because currently I'm just
okay.
on that level where I just like to play with that a little bit.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I think you are.
I don't hide my age, but it's just a little thing where at the moment, because the kind of audience which I'm approaching has all sorts of age gaps. They range from children to 80, 90 years old. So it's a huge age range. And the reason why I didn't want to highlight about my age itself is because I don't want to categorize a certain audience.
Yeah.
Because people automatically go back to that. Okay, we're not interested. Or she's not interested in me because of whatsoever and so on.
Yeah.
So I wanted to eliminate this part and just make the people focus on what I'm presenting, rather than focusing on that element. Because I know what I'm looking for. You know, I'm not going to go for 18 years old, to be honest.
Yeah.
Generally, because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
And not just this. I've matured within myself. I've developed within myself. How many 18 years old you see spiritually awakened and experience and have a mindset of improvement? You don't see that, you know. So it wouldn't even cross my mind, despite age I'm talking about, because my mind itself is just too mature for that.
Yeah.
So
it's good. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, that's fine. You carry on.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's good to have actually mystery on social media. That is a good thing to have packaged as well. Like I've slipped up and told my age quite a few times on my lives and stuff. But yeah, it's good to basically just deliver the content with not too much backstory. Do you know what I mean? That keeps a level of mystery. And I feel like that works a lot on social media. Of people like wondering, they want to know, they're not sure, they're guessing, they think they know. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean,
That's a good thing.
You're getting away with it, you know. No one knows how old you are.
Yeah, no, that's the good thing about it, and that's exactly what I wanted to achieve, because that's creates a certain form of excitement as well for the audience. You know, one talks to the other one and the second one, and my main aim is not about just my age, rumoring about my age. It's about content, because that's how you spread the message. One talks to the next one, and then another one talks to 10 people. Look at this, and the excitement comes automatically about, oh, how old is she? She's got so good skin and she looks young, but she's also experienced. So you know, they're kind of confused, and that's a good way to play with that.
Definitely.
And you know, the funny thing about that also is, because I take care of myself, you know, I do my yoga, I do my cross training. From my physical perspective, you wouldn't necessarily feel or picture me in a certain age gap or in an age range.
What does that mean? I'm trying to picture you now. Like, what? Like, so you're saying you have an old body?
No, it's not about old body. It's about, a lot of people think maturing is about letting go of yourself.
Okay.
In real life terms. And a lot of people, if you know them around even your age range, I would say from 30 upwards, people start doing less for themselves.
Oh, I get you now. Yes. Yeah. I get what you mean. Yeah. To stop
And they,
training,
yeah.
especially females as well. Some females haven't done any sports or gym or anything like that. Yeah, I get exactly what you mean.
So
Yeah.
so that's what confusing for a lot of people as well. That you don't see many people doing that. You know, you may have someone who's really, really slim, and slim doesn't necessarily mean healthy. Slim just means slim, but they don't actually do anything, and they start looking worn. They start
Yeah.
looking, and that's just because you don't take care of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a huge difference about, you know, as I said, it takes discipline. I don't necessarily drink fizzy drinks, for instance. I don't necessarily drink a lot of sweet juices and all these kind of things. I drink water.
Mm-hmm.
I don't drink alcohol. I don't mind anyone else drinking alcohol. You know, I'm a very non-judgmental person in general. But at the same time, it doesn't taste for me. I only have it for medicinal reasons. You know, a little shot of brandy or something, which my grandma always used to say, if you're feeling ill or you're feeling low, just have a little shot of brandy and you'll be fine. So, but other than that, I don't drink because I don't enjoy drinking. I don't like the feeling of losing your senses. I don't like the taste despite that anyway.
Yeah.
So you take care of yourself, you take care of your body, you take care of your inner being, and as soon you start developing spiritually, you would do that automatically anyway.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And a lot of people don't go through these stages, which is why they just let go of themselves and then wondering why they look a certain way, you know, taking off all the health hazards and um, uh, different setbacks which you may have. But at the same time, the motivation needs to come from yourself to keep up with that,
Yeah, that's true.
not for somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So yes, no, that's quite interesting, and that's why I keep confusing people about all these things, and I'll play with that a little bit to keep the excitement going.
Working. It's working.
Yeah, some of my clips you've seen, they go quite viral as well suddenly. Others are more for connecting with people, connecting with the audience.
Yeah.
So it's just the range and it's life, you know. My focus is not on, oh, how many views I can get now tomorrow on each clip. It's more about, yes, people are getting my messages, people are understanding things, a lot of people have been taking that in their own life as well and embracing that, and that's a
Yeah.
nice thing to see.
Good. It's good to help people as well with what really needs to be helped with. That's people's mental health, people's spiritual journey. Do you know what I mean? People's confidence.
It's
So
so
good
important.
content.
It's absolutely important. I mean, a lot of people have approached me on Instagram, for instance, as well, and have asked, I'd like to grow even half of the confidence you have, and I'd be happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, just by seeing your content, it's so important. In the same way, like you do as well. You don't know how many people you are inspiring and helping in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm shocked as well, like with the content that I be doing. Like it's worldwide. Like some of my followers, reach from America to Australia, Canada, Africa. Do you know what I mean? All different ages, all different colors. And some of the comments, people are like, "Yo, I teach my kids what you're teaching me." I'm like, "What?" You know what I mean? It's such a crazy thing to think of. Do you know what I mean? And it's a responsibility as well because you want to do your best for them. You want to teach them as clean as possible, as much as possible. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to mislead them. You don't want to give them false hope. But yeah, definitely, especially since the pandemic as well. A lot of people started to lose their way. A lot of people were scared. A lot of people was not sure what to believe. And social media was a big platform for people to have their own opinion and to basically question things. Do you know what I'm saying? Not just to go with the flow. So yeah, I definitely believe, because when social media first come out, people was a lot more our age group anyway. We were scared of it. We was like, oh, technology. Oh, that sounds like the devil. You know what I'm saying? That sounds like Lucifer. We were scared of it. But in a way, we've been able to take it back from them and use it for our own, use it as a weapon against them if that need be. You know, I remember hearing something about they're saying they wanted to try to take down TikTok because there was too many conspiracies on TikTok, you know. And I just think, wow, I mean, who's really listening? You know what I mean? But it just shows you how much people are listening and how much people are influenced from social media.
It is. I mean, to be honest, the older generation, you know, my mum, my grandmother, they still think it's a negative thing because they don't
Yeah,
even look at the positive aspect of that. You
yeah,
know, when I first came into social media, to be honest, I had a lot of men from my own culture penalizing me because they're
mhm,
judging my life automatically, my breakdown, for instance. Automatically through the light of social media without
yeah,
actually knowing that I broke up with my last relationship before I came on social media.
yeah,
But they would automatically make a judgment. Oh, because you're on social media, that's why your marriage broke down, which is
yeah,
absolutely nonsense. They don't
yeah,
even know what I've gone through during that time. And plus, the additional fact is that I came on social media only last year. You know, it's just
yeah,
been over a year.
yeah. I mean,
So
I've go on.
that's fine. I mean, so there's a lot of different judgments about which you can't get people out of this mindset, even though I
Mhm,
say to them, look, you need to actually look at my content to understand what I'm doing. You
yeah,
can't just judge on, oh, she's dancing in that video. That's so shameful. I mean, I come from a South Asian family, Muslim background, which is even worse because
yeah,
they have a very prejudgment about certain things.
yeah,
And as soon as somebody comes in public's view, especially when it's a female as well, she will be judged in a very negative way
mhm,
automatically, regardless of what she's presenting, regardless of what she's doing. So I knew some setbacks would come towards me, you know.
yeah,
I was aware of that. But I just went through, I thought to myself, because I came to that stage after I separated, I went through a whole lot of self-development and self-awareness of self-identity, self-discovery, all these kind of things, that I thought to myself, I can't please everyone. And why am I pleasing everyone anyway?
yeah,
Because it's somewhere along the line, it's losing myself. I don't even know who I am no more.
mhm,
Although I know I'm a good person, that's what I know. I've got a very good heart, but I'm kind of lost in this society of, you know, having to run after everyone, chase everyone. Not men, I'm talking about generally about people, family, loved ones.
mhm,
That I just started when I started developing myself and looking into myself. That's when I started separating myself from all these forceful ways, forceful pathways. And I
yeah,
felt better. I thought, what am I pleasing these people? They're not here when I need them.
mhm. That's so true.
When I'm at my lowest point, they're not there to protect me.
Yeah,
So I don't hate them. I still love and care for them, but I don't have to miss them in my life. I don't have to run after them no more. I don't have to please them anymore.
yeah, that's true. I've
And
got I've got
yeah, carry on, carry on. It's
yeah,
fine.
no, I understand because I've got a school friend that I went to school with, and she's Indian and Sikh background and stuff, and her family they get on her case for being on social media. You know, all she does is she's a makeup artist, so all she does is show her makeup designs on TikTok, and you know, and her family really get on her, like, you know, you're just being a hoe and you're just doing this. And it's like, all you're doing is showing your makeup. Do you know what I mean? And it's bridal makeup as well, Indian brides. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just any type of makeup, it's for brides, you know, it's got the Indian dresses and all of that. And, you know, she actually came off TikTok because of it. You know, all of her sisters were just giving her a hard time. And it's really sad to see, you know, in this day and age that you know, families are still doing this. She
Yeah.
actually had an arranged marriage, you know, and I was like, I didn't even know they still existed. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And she ended up getting a divorce from her arranged marriage. And I was like, you're the only girl I know who's had an arranged marriage, been divorced, and never got sent to India. You know, because, you know, I've never heard of it. You know, I mean, once you have an arranged marriage, that's it. And if you end up splitting up, you know, you're outcasted in the community. But she's still in the community, but they just give her a hard time. And I really think it's sad because she's never really had a chance to live her own life. Do you know what I mean? It's always in the parents' eyes. So
And
yeah,
that's why
it's
you have to come out. You just have to come out, regardless of, I mean, our culture, South Asian culture is just stronger, unfortunately. But you just have to come out. I had to literally physically separate myself from most of my family members, which was
yeah,
hurtful in the beginning. But that's
yeah,
part of your spiritual journey,
yeah,
that you do feel lonely at some point because you feel like nobody's there, literally,
yeah,
even though they were not there in the first place. But because
yeah,
you left them, you separated yourself from them, you feel very much left on your own. You feel
yeah,
lonely.
yeah,
And once you develop yourself, that's when you start understanding that this loneliness was solitude, was actually putting your mind back together, forming your self-identity, finding yourself, and developing a much more, I would say, neater pathway to God,
yeah, yeah. I agree.
without all these different confusions and influences and conditioning happening in between, you know.
Mhm.
And that was the journey which I've learned, that in the beginning it did hurt a lot, because I
Yeah,
thought to myself, suddenly, even though no one was really running after me, but at the same time, you go and see your family, you go and spend some time with them, you know, it's different. And suddenly when it's gone,
yeah,
you feel left, you feel completely lost. And that was a very hard time to go through, although I had a lot of hard times anyway in general from childhood, as I said. But at the
yeah,
same time, this was something which was very new, just to feel completely lost. But then when I was going through that and I was developing, yes, I had a few fallbacks about, as I said, the new dating scene. That was too confusing for me
Mhm.
because I've never been single in my life before. I was in 2 long relationships, and suddenly, and they were not happy relationships, but that was all I knew. Suddenly you're thrown into this world,
Mhm.
and especially this era as well, where everything is changing about
Yeah,
the dating scene. And you
yeah,
think to yourself, and believe me, I've never ever chased a man, because I'm quite old school in that, you know. I
mhm.
like to see, and it's nothing to do about pride, it's just about, I would like to think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I would like to think, if a man can't approach me in the first place, I would judge their strength or their character, to, if I need that person, I was to get together with that person could not protect me if I needed to.
I would have to disagree. I would have to disagree um, for many reasons. So sometimes a guy can move to you, chat you up, you know, make that first approach, but that doesn't mean he's going to protect you. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't even mean he's a manly man. Some men might feel like, well, she probably gets people chatting her up all the time. You know, I don't even want to be a nuisance to her. Do you know what I mean? But he's going to be that gentleman who will fight, stand up for you. Like me personally, I'm a guy where I don't always make the first move. Get me? Sometimes I'll just chill, be like, you know, just get to know each other. Do you know what I mean? But I would definitely fight for my girlfriend. You know what I mean? but I wouldn't always. Sometimes I'd make a move, sometimes I wouldn't. But I don't think you could determine on who's going to fight for you on who does the first move.
I think maybe I stated it wrongly. I'm not saying it would always be the case, but it's just something which comes from us being hunters and gatherers.
Oh
Where
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's not even the role of a woman to be the housewife or anything. I'm a very independent person, but at the same time, there's some niceness about it to see, wanting to see a gentleman.
yeah,
Wanting
yeah,
to see someone, oh gosh, come on, have some courage and take the
yeah,
lead.
yeah. You do,
You know,
yeah, yeah. I understand
wanting
that.
to see as a woman to feel a bit desired. And
Yeah,
that's all what it is, because you would return that in the same way, in a different way,
yeah,
but you would return that as a woman as well. But
yeah,
just these nice little things, because I think if somebody, for me anyway, if somebody is too introverted and too shy, they are lovely people, don't get me wrong, but they wouldn't be for me.
yeah. Mhm.
Is I need a man to be a man, and that's why I keep preaching about
Yeah,
embrace your women, embrace your natural femininity, not feminism, femininity. Men, embrace your natural God-given masculinity. Only then you will improve and you start building
yeah,
partnerships rather than rivalries with each other.
yeah. I agree. I agree. And at times, obviously, at times I do make that move, and at times I don't. I just weigh it up. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes if I feel like, well, she ain't gonna say anything, I'm gonna say something. You know what I'm saying? Because I am actually a confident guy, and I am confident with the females. But sometimes when I think like she just gets chatting up every day, do you know what I feel like? There's a whole list of guys who wanna. I'm like, she's got to show me if she wants me first, because I'm just gonna sound like any other guy. What am I gonna say? Like, what line am I gonna say that's gonna win? But I'll still try.
That must be most of the guys who think that about me, because I do get a lot of attention.
Yeah, but I feel like with me, it's a chemistry thing. Even if you get a lot of attention, I would still look for the signs to feel like, well, they might be giving her attention, but she wants attention from me, and I'll be able to read into that. Do you know what I mean? I don't think I'll be put off by how many guys chat up a girl. You know what I mean? If a girl's beautiful, I know she's beautiful. I know guys are going to talk to her, but it's all about looking at what she likes. Do you know what I mean? Rather than getting messed up with the competition. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
And that's where your confidence comes in from.
yeah,
That you didn't grow the confidence to compete with somebody, you grew it for
yeah,
yourself because you feel comfortable within yourself.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
When I was younger, like I don't know, maybe I'm getting older now, so I'm a bit more like, I'm a bit more picky. But when I was younger, me and my friends would be like proper hunter gatherers. It'd be like, who can get that girl? You know what I'm saying? Like, put each other to the test. And it's like, what? You can't get her. Let me try and get her. Do you know what I mean? And it used to be very fun. It used to be like a sport, you know. But I think that's comes with immaturity. And when you get mature, you kind of narrow it down to what you really want. Do you know what I mean?
that's the
And
difference between a boy and a man.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Because when you're younger, you just want to look cool. You just want to show up. You want to get the girl that everybody wants. Do you know what I mean? Even if you don't want to. So, and I think when you get to a certain level, you kind of look for a partner rather than just look for a girl.
And it's also not just partner, it's also about companionship. it's
Yeah,
it's also about growth. It's also
yeah,
about, if you're a
friend.
spiritual person, you would look for somebody who is
Yeah,
on a similar kind of pathway. You don't just want anybody, because looks are face value. There's
yeah,
two different things. You can have a chemistry with somebody, initial attraction, sexual attraction,
hmm,
which fades away very quickly.
yeah,
And then you have a connection with somebody, which could be imminently as well. Usually a connection does build up in some form of way, imminently, in a mutual way. So you have to have both a certain form of attraction and connection together, in order to build up to that. I mean, I haven't found anyone like this. To be honest, I'm quite honest with my life as well. The two relationships I was in, I wasn't in love with them.
Mm-hmm.
I was very, very young when I got into my first marriage, kind of thrown into that. I was still a child, not even, developed in my brain. And then go straight into the second relationship, the one who then snaps me up because I'm going through a very difficult divorce and my head is not right. So when I came out of that and I thought to myself, okay, what went wrong now? So I had to kind of check myself as well. And it's not just blaming somebody else, it's also looking into yourself and finding out, why do you react a certain way? Why did you actually went along with these relationships? Why didn't you come out of them earlier? All these things I had to analyze within myself. Why did I react to certain things in a certain way? I had to really, really kind of put myself into certain situations and ask myself questions until I found out what I really want. Why was it going wrong? Yes, it was going wrong because I didn't have no boundaries in place.
Yeah.
I'm a natural empath due to my past experiences. So yes, I automatically wanted to become the healer, but that's not necessarily a good way, because wanting to become the healer would attract also narcissists. It would attract psychopaths. It would attract all sorts of people.
Yeah.
So I had to put these boundaries in place without actually feeling guilty about it, because ultimately my behavior would enhance someone else's bad behavior, because I kind of become the servant.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it wasn't a healthy way to be. And that's why I had to improve myself and say, okay, these things don't work. Yes, no, I don't want to change my character because I love the way how I am. I don't want to be somebody else, but at the same time, I do need to understand where I'm coming from, what my weaknesses are, and where I need to set boundaries, because I should be most important than any other human being.
Yeah.
The only higher being who should be more important than myself should be God. That's it. Nobody else. And anybody else who would be in my life should grow with me. That's all what it is. I should grow with them. They should grow with me. And we should become a part of life.
Yeah.
And anything which is actually pulling me back or pulling me down is not meant to be for me.
That's correct.
So even the guys who I see, for instance, I can now judge very, very quickly to say, I don't even say, you're not for me. I say to them, I'm not for you. I'm not for you. I think we should part. I don't think that's going to work, because we're on two different levels. We're on two different pathways.
Interesting.
Because a lot of the times, what I also understand nowadays is because guys are kind of confused with women who are independent because of all these toxic ways which are being portrayed in the media. So they're quite confused to see. They only know two types of women. They know the one who's dependent, who wants to be complimented all the time, who wants to depend on that man, who feels quite low confident, who they can overpower. Or the other side, you have the independent woman who's very feisty.
Yeah.
But they don't know the mix of a good woman with a good heart, who's not swearing necessarily, who's friendly, who's helpful, but at the same time she also knows who she is. She's confident, she's independent. At the same time, I still want a gentleman. I do like the care of a man. it doesn't mean that, I put in 50, you put in 50. It doesn't work for me like this. The relationship is a partnership. You grow with each other, you complement each other, you fulfill each other's needs where it's needed. And so they get very confused when they see, oh, she's lovely, she's also attractive, she's also independent, she's got her life together, she's confident. We don't know what to do with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
We don't know how to impress her. You don't need to impress me with anything.
Mm-hmm.
You just be who you are. And if it works, we will find out. If it doesn't work, it's also fine. You don't need to latch on to me just because I'm presenting all these things. Because I'm presenting all these things. Yes, they're all part of my character and my personality, but you're not actually looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it goes wrong. Because they're confused. They can't deal with that. No, she's all of this, so she has to be nasty. She has to be a bad character, but she's not a bad character. She's still confident. So what do we do with her? How do we approach her?
Yeah, I can understand that. That would be the problem for a lot of people because they feel, well, she's perfect then. Like, she's goddamn perfect. What do we do? You know what I mean? But you're right. You just need to be yourself, and people need to grow. People need to bond. If you don't bond, then you don't bond. But if you do bond, it comes naturally.
Exactly. It does need to come naturally, otherwise it doesn't work. That's why things like the dating so far hasn't worked, because you do become more self-aware of you. You don't just want to just be with somebody for the sake of it, and at the same time it wouldn't be fair on the other person either. If that person is not really genuinely interested in you, or I'm not interested in them in that way, to grow in love with each other, then where's that going to go? It's just wasting time, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
So yes, that's the point which I always make, and I don't think. I mean, it's a man thing as well. A lot of guys don't really listen to you; they just look at you, and that's it. I can talk all of this, and I put it all up front, and I say all of these things, and half of the things they remember.
I'm listening. I heard you. Yeah,
But yes, it's a funny world out there. It's taught me a lot, made me a lot wiser as well in this kind of way. And I must say, it does grow. Everything just grows you anyway, no matter what you go through. And I'm at that point where I think I'm quite happy with my life, although I've made a lot of changes in my personal life. And people also ask me, that's another thing. Oh, why do you always support Black people? It's a stupid thing to ask, but they're very, very surprised about that. Black history and Black people, you.
It's funny, isn't it? Like, with Black people always have something weird to say like that. Like, why do you support Black people? Like, why not? It's funny.
I mean, one thing with me is, I think, and that's how I've grown my children as well, that I don't see color. Means it doesn't interest me. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It doesn't interest me. I see you as the person who you are. And I think with very much common sense, means, if something doesn't make sense to me, I do not follow it, regardless of what, even if my mother follows it.
Yeah.
So I don't see the sense of having different races in humankind, because I don't think they exist. We only have one race. The 1% which is different in us is the geographical backgrounds.
Yeah.
We adapt to our environment. I'm talking about to our original environment, because nowadays we can travel and so on. It's very different. But where we come from is we have to adapt our body, our skin, our natural tone. It has to adapt to a certain environment. geographical environment. Because if you see a very, very light-skinned person 1,000 years ago in the deepest of Africa, that person would have been eaten by lions from far, spotted by them.
Yeah.
The other way around in Alaska, the same way.
Yeah.
So people have to need to start thinking about where that comes from and why is it there.
Yeah.
Because we are adaptive species. That's all what it is. We need to adapt to our environment. But the reason why I always argue that point about the race is that if we were different races of human beings, we would look like literally like Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
We would not have genetically exactly the same shape, the same body, the same eyes, the same lips, the same hands, arms, legs, blood, bones, brain, 99%. The 1% is geographical differences and genetic differences. That's all what it is.
Yeah.
All this human race thing is been invented by human beings to empower another tribe of people, to empower other groups of people, to find a reason to do so. That's all what it is, nothing else. You can't argue that point. You try to argue that point. You can't win that point with me.
Yeah.
I even argue with my own people about it, to say to them, look, what you're doing about colorism and racism and prejudice, and this is why I support what is needed right now, because I feel personally, and I don't care what anybody else thinks, I feel that because a certain group of people has been discriminated through centuries and years and many, many centuries, they need to be supported. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I find something needs to be supported, then I don't care how that person looks like, where it comes from. It just needs to be supported.
Yeah.
And it happens to be the Black community right now.
Yeah, definitely.
I just think there's too much hate out there. There's too much justification of prejudice out there to keep people separate, that people just want to find excuses about it, why certain things are there and why not.
Yeah.
And that just makes the world a more toxic place. And because I'm not a toxic person, I don't support that argument. Mm-hmm. Which is why I also went against my family about this argument. I don't support it. You know, you would maybe, or you may be aware, because you have Asian friends, as you said, that colorism is a big thing in the South Asian community.
Yeah,
it's like a huge thing.
Every Asian girl that I've dated have been excommunicated. Do you know what I mean? Every Asian girl, whether it was Pakistani, Indian, Filipino, they all had already been kicked out of their community when I met them. And it was for supporting Black people and dating Black people and stuff like that. And I was just like, wow.
And that is fact. It will not change. It will not change in the next 20 years. So whoever wants to put up with me, a guy, would have to understand that this is just fact. But that's the few who come out, like myself, who actually protest against all these toxic thought process, and we don't want to follow them. That's it. That's not to say that I don't love my culture. I still love my culture. I still love certain things about it, but I don't want to follow a way which I don't believe in, which is wrong. It goes against humanity.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's all what it is, you know. And to be honest, as I said, I've grown up my children about not to see color. They will judge you by your personality. They will judge you by your character. They will never judge you by how you look like. You could be yellow, green, blue, red. You could have millions of pounds. You could be living on the road. They would not judge you of that.
It's good.
And that's all what counts. That's what I believe is humanity.
It's the right way to think. You know what I mean? Like, so many people don't think this way, and it's a shame, and it is sad, and sometimes it puzzles me. Do you know what I mean? Because I understand people are taught a certain way. I understand some people are even taught to be racist. But for me, I just can't fathom it. Do you know what I mean? Even with, like, say, white people, I don't judge white people on anything that they've done. Do you know what I mean? If I meet a new white person today, I treat them as an individual, despite how much racism I've been through, despite how much racism my ancestors have been through. I still don't label a new white person as something I've met. I could have met 100 white people, and 99 of them could have been racist to me. But that 100th one can still be my best friend.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's just something the way I am. Some people, it's not so. They be like, oh, but I got robbed by a black guy in '89, and that's why I'm racist. And it's like, come on,
Not
really?
even themselves. The friend of my friend got robbed.
Yeah, my friend of my friend got robbed by a black guy and he looks like you. I was saying, like, God damn. So yeah, people people I think make excuses. People are filled with a lot of hatred in their heart, because if you've got any love for humanity, you would understand that everybody's human, and you would understand that it's wrong. And I think they know it's wrong. That's why they hide their racism, and it only comes out in certain times. But
I mean,
I
it's
feel
got
like,
a psychological background because most people actually don't follow the rightness; they follow the tribe,
yeah,
and that's a social being problem because we're social beings. There's very few. I always say that there's very few leaders out there. There's
yeah,
very few shepherds out there. Most people are sheeps.
yeah,
And out of fear to be abandoned or to be judged by their own tribe, they don't want to come out of there, even
yeah,
if they don't believe in it. And that's
yeah,
the wrong thing to do. And that's actually what most people don't understand is
yeah,
the first, actually, if you want to go to biblical terms or religious terms, it's the first thing to do
yeah,
to follow your forefathers and mothers and fathers and grandmothers, just because they followed something, it doesn't
yeah,
mean you have to follow it as well. I mean, look at the story of coming back to Moses again. What did happen when he came back down the hill?
everyone was worshipping the fake idols and that again.
And the
Yeah,
reason for that, excuse for that was, or because our forefathers have done that, that's why we're
yeah,
doing that.
yeah,
And that's exactly, and you can interpret that in any faith, in any culture, in any beliefs. If you look at people, they follow blindly what their forefathers have done without actually switching on their own brain. And because I don't believe in that, I believe God. Otherwise, God wouldn't be just. It's a common sense thing. Again, God
yeah,
cannot be just. If he was to separate certain parts of people and put them in a different category, on a different level to other people, he wouldn't be just.
yeah.
He could not be.
Mhm.
It would be impossible. Everything which we see would be false otherwise.
Yeah,
So that's where you have to understand that, that's how I make sense of the world anyway. And to be honest, whoever I'm dating, whoever I'm seeing, whoever I would like to grow with, yes, you have certain, physical attraction to somebody. You can't help that. But I don't care if you're rich, if you're poor, if you're white, if you're black, if you're yellow, if you're even down to things like, I don't know, disabled, any kind of form of ways which, um where you put a judgment in place, it doesn't exist for me. As I said, not to say that I don't have certain preference and certain attraction to somebody. That's just a natural way to have, but it's not judged by any of these elements.
yeah,
Somebody could be a startup, for instance, and he may have had bad luck in his life and may not be a, wealthy person, may not have a full-time job, for instance, but it's striving to become better.
yeah,
Not because I want him to be better, but he wants to be better. He wants to get his life back together. So these kind of things I'm looking for in a person. And as I said, I don't go after men. I mean, thankfully, I didn't have the need to do so.
Yeah.
But because I'm quite yeah, different-minded in that way as well. But at the same time, I haven't found that kind of. I mean, I'm not saying the guys who I've seen have been bad in any way, but they may have not been in the same mindset than I have, and I don't see many people who are confident within themselves, within their life.
Or not what? Confident with themselves.
Yeah, and with their life.
Oh, what do you mean they're not happy with their life?
Yeah, most people are not. Most people are not. Yeah, unfortunately, they're not. That's why it filters down too much, because when you reach a certain level of self-awareness, you just become more choosy with that as well.
Yeah.
Not choosy, as I said, all these other superficial things, they're not important, but you become more aware of who you want to be with, and these things are just important to me anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
And you would think they're not too much to ask, but in this society, there are a lot.
Yeah, there are a lot of things there. It's a big list. They're not easy things to achieve on that list. You know, self-awareness and self-love is one of the hardest things to achieve. You know, for someone to be happy with their own life, that's hard to achieve because, again, people look in all the wrong directions for happiness. You know, people are looking at how big the house is, what the car is, the money is. You know, they're always upset with what they could have been. And, you know, I could have been a basketball. You know, they're always, you know, looking at what could have been, not looking at what it is. You know, and I really feel like, to me, what I assume as success is when you realize who you are spiritually and the road that you're on. That's what I see as success. Everything else ain't gonna matter. No matter how much money you got, no matter what job you have, you could have the best job in the world and be spiritually unsatisfied. You know what I'm saying? So once you realize you're a spiritual soul and you're here for a lesson, that's when true happiness begins.
Absolutely. High five to that.
Yes.
But that's what I'm saying. You have very few people who have been following that journey. Most people are miserable. Most people are unhappy because of their life, because of themselves, and are just scared to come out of that. You know, that's why you don't see many people like us.
For real. I mean, it's a trap. The whole like life is a game, but life is a race where we all start off running in the wrong direction. You know, we all start running in the wrong direction. Like you said, it's like sheep. So everybody's doing this thing to fit in, whether it's religion, whether it's your work, whether it's your family background. We're all going down this road, running as fast as we can think, yeah, we're going to be happy. And then when you get to the end of that road and you realize you're not happy yet, you're like, but I've got the big house. I've got the big car. I've got the wife. It's like, but that ain't even the wife he's meant to be with. You just settled for her, bruv. You get me? You knew you weren't compatible with her, but you carried on going. You had 5 kids and you ain't happy. You know what I mean? And then you got a choice to turn around, go the opposite way, but it's too much because you're going to go against your family. You know, you're going to quit your job. You're going to go against your wife. You know, you got kids. So a lot of people just think, yeah, I'm just going to stay here and be miserable for the rest of my life. And they missed the turning way back at the start of the race, which is a spiritual race. It's a spiritual journey. But you went down the physical road. Do you know what I mean? Chasing material. So at some point, you know, you want to get that breakdown. You want to hit that rock bottom. You want to get that slap in the face from the universe to make you think, I'm going the wrong way. That's why I'm unhappy. I'm on the wrong track. And the minute you get on the right track, even if you don't reach the destination yet, the minute you just touch that right track, it's like, oh, so much better. And you're going to have people shouting at you like, hey, what are you doing? You're going the wrong way. You're like, forgive them, Father, for they don't know what they've done.
You
They're
just
going the
know,
wrong
you
way.
just absolutely know when you're going that route, you just know,
Yeah,
isn't it? You
yeah.
just
You just
know.
know, like it's a straight feeling. They can tell you going the wrong way. You're like, I know. You're looking at them like, I feel sorry for you. They're like, no, we should feel sorry for you. You're like, it's you that should feel sorry. But because you're so untrue with yourself, you think you're winning. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So yeah, that spiritual journey is the only way to happiness, only way to success. That's true wealth, spiritual wealth, I call it. I call it spiritual money. People talk about how rich they are physically, like, but you're physically rich, but you're spiritually broke. Come on, bruv. Let's talk it out. You know what I mean? So yeah, you want to be spiritually rich.
There's a saying about that as well. You just said it very beautifully. There's a saying about that. You could be in a mansion or you could be in a one bed flat.
Hmm. Yeah,
You would if you're lonely, you would feel lonely this exactly the same way. It wouldn't make a difference.
yeah, won't make a difference. But it's that inner peace and it's that inner in tune with yourself that makes you happy, that makes you feel not alone. Do you know what I mean? Like it's when you're connected to the universe. You could be by yourself or you could be in a crowd of millions. If you ain't in tune with yourself, if you're not spiritually in tune, then it's gonna not feel right. And you can mask it with alcohol, you can mask it with drugs, friendship, sex. But you see, when you lie down on your bed, you're gonna feel all alone again. You see, and this is why people they get the energy from the wrong source. They get the energy from what people say. They boost themselves up with drinking alcohol, and then it dies down, and they need a new boost and a new boost. And by the end of it, all those boosts ain't even gonna feel nothing. You're gonna feel immune to it, and you're gonna still feel that alone feeling. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that can satisfy you is that spiritual realm.
Yeah.
And so many people don't know that, and it's not as hard as it sounds. It's not this whole religious thing of you've got to live right, you've got to do the right thing.
Mm.
It's about just taking that step on this journey of
That's right.
realizing there's more to life than physical things. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? The minute you think that, your whole life changes. You feel a void that was inside you starts to be filled.
Your
Yeah,
whole perspective of things changes as well. Because
yeah, definitely.
if I'm happy, I'm not there to make you happy, for instance.
Hmm.
I'm happy because I'm happy. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And that's what people automatically then pick up on. Oh, how is that person so glowing, full of
yeah,
energy? I'm
yeah,
not going to convince you. I'm doing that because I feel generally like
yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah,
And
definitely.
that's where the difference coming from. You don't seek or you don't require any validation no more from
Yeah,
anybody.
yeah, that's the main thing. Like, I used to say to myself and say to people, like, you're there trying to please everybody else, but whoever thought to please God? Like, you're there, you're worried about what they say? Yo, you should be worried about what God's saying, what the
Absolutely.
angels are thinking about you. You know, it's not about impressing your friends, it's not about impressing them people there. It's about doing what you're here to do. It's about finding your purpose and living
And
that. And once you
and you
do
know
that,
what the beautiful thing is, you may do that as well. Sometimes I'm just like sitting here and looking at the sky and just say, God, I really love you, you know.
yeah, of
It's
course.
just
Yeah,
such
of
a
course.
beautiful feeling.
Of
And you
course.
think to yourself, oh, I know you will take care of me. I'm
Yeah,
aware of that.
yeah,
I know you will get me that guy,
yeah,
for instance.
yeah.
But you just
Yeah,
start having this kind of dialogue with
yeah,
yourself, and it's
yeah.
such a beautiful thing to do.
Definitely, definitely. And it's really like what people should really be thinking about. Like a lot of us don't remember coming to Earth. No one really remembers, the day they decided I'm going to come to Earth in this body. And you should just be thankful because it's such a beautiful experience. This whole existence of Earth, this whole realm, it's so immaculately amazing that you just got to be like, well, thank you, God, for creating me. Thank you for putting me in having this experience that I'm having because wow, this is amazing. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of people just take it for granted. A lot of people are like, yo, what? there's no God. Where was God when the children were starving and not realizing these people in the third world country, they're on the spiritual journey, so they're happy. You see these people in this third world countries playing with a stick and a stone, and they're smiling and laughing. And then you got these people in these so-called first world countries, got everything and miserable, depressed. So it really is about it's about that spiritual connection.
Absolutely, it does. It does make such a difference. I do feel that as well. Regardless of how your life has been, but if you're not on that spiritual journey, you will actually never understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, you won't.
You may feel attracted by that because you want to get there, but you will not understand it. You will not be able to feel that unless you go through that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
It's been a pleasure talking to you as well.
Yeah. Let me stop the recording for a minute.
Okay.
There. If you like the clip, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more to come.